let's talk about Argentina for a moment because this is pretty interesting. So basically, the Argentina is getting an additional $20 billion line of credit from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Now, that brings their total debt to the IMF now to 67 billion. And at the same time as like taking this additional money debt from the IMF, Argentina has made moves to end currency controls. So specifically, they are moving towards letting the market decide what the price of the Argentine peso is relative to the US dollar. Although it's a kind of a gradual rollout, so there's some restrictions for now. It's like there's a band where the peso is allowed to trade in, and that band with this new law or policy in place is going to expand at 1% per month. So this means that the market price of pesos will be allowed to be more accurate over the next several months and years, assuming this policy stays in place. And the IMF line of credit, presumably here, is actually used to help ease that transition. So I think this is significant for a few reasons.
Yeah. So maybe the first thing to talk about this is that we'll get to see some kind of information, maybe like an experiment of how stablecoins work in a country that is moving from a kind of pegged currency or fixed currency to a floating one, in terms of whether you see a kind of a net inflow of stablecoins into like their traditional financial system, i.e., out of stablecoins into the traditional banks, or if you see like a net kind of increase of stablecoins into Argentina in general, right? So I'm doing a bad job of this, but basically, are people in Argentina going to be buying more stablecoins from this news on net, or are they going to be selling more stablecoins, right? And you can kind of see both sides here, right? Like if now Argentina is able to get normal Argentinians are able to get access to dollars, that presumably would decrease the need for stable coins, which I think were kind of a gray market for them anyway. And they were a hedge against the volatility of their local currency. So perhaps stablecoin usage and volume will go down over time, right? Now that they can get hold of real dollars. On the other hand, you could see that now that stablecoins, now that dollars are legal to hold, that gray market, that gray zone that stablecoins were in should be cleared up, and then you might see just an overall increase of stablecoins because now people are less worried about them, and they could use them even more.
Especially since presumably the stablecoins are actually like a superior product to dollars in the TradFi system, right? Like
especially in emerging markets, right?
Yeah, US dollars on blockchain rails are superior. You can
Yes,
move them permissionlessly, lower cost, 24/7. You don't have to wait for the bank. So,
and they're already in use.
Yeah, they're already in use. As networks effects is there. If the gray zone legitimacy of them dissipates, you might see increased adoption. And we should just mention that so far, right, the market seems confused. There's a 100% increase in the volume of stablecoin trading in Argentina, but it's like at first it was a net outflow, and then there's a net inflow. It's kind of balanced out. People aren't really sure, I think, yet what this means.
Yeah, and how to play it, right? Like they don't know
exactly. And I think we should just mention one last thing, which is, what does this mean for Bitcoin? Right? I think it's a similar scenario when a government moves to end its capital controls. Presumably, that makes Bitcoin less desirable, less needed as a hedge. On the other hand, when a country removes its capital controls, right, maybe the country's economy gets better, and like a lot of these countries actually have restrictions on holding Bitcoin, so it makes it easier to get it. So maybe that actually just means more people more net buying of Bitcoin, although perhaps not as much as like less of as used as a hedge, more used as just like an investment, speculative investment. So interesting to watch what happens here. We'll be following this story.